Hey, what is up internet? I'd like to welcome you guys back to my channel for another video. You guys already know who it is, it's FC aka Fried Chicken, and today I'm going to be doing something that may be considered a little controversial to the player base who likes to take part in FPS combat. But before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that I am hosting a giveaway for a gray Shiv and a CitizenCon goodie pack that includes everything inside of the goodie pack, including the armor and weapons, and then also a game package, just in case you don't have one, so you will be able and be ready to lock and load tactical mode to enter the verse. All you gotta do in order to enter this giveaway is 1. Be a subscriber, and 2. Comment on any video I upload in between the time period of November 3rd through the 30th for a chance to win. Best of luck. Now, the two items in question that I want to talk about and compare is going to be the multi-tool and the MediGun, mainly because people are torn between the two on which one to choose whenever they decide to go out into the verse and do some combat. Now, the only reason why I'm even bringing this up is because a little while ago, CIG switched up the class of what the MediGun used to be called. It is now considered a pistol, so now it sits on your pistol attachment slot, and you're not able to throw it anywhere else on the body, unlike the multi-tool, which can go onto both of your utility slots on your body, which is on your left hip and on your front right kneecap. Now, me personally, I have been an advocate for encouraging people to not use the MediGun versus the multi-tool, just because I feel like people got too attached and used to the way how the MediGun works. They both work similar, but obviously one can do more than what the other one can do. So before we go into the field, I want to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each of these utility items, because it does matter depending on what type of gameplay role you are doing, depending if you are doing PvP or PvE combat or just general use. We're going to start this off by first talking about the MediGun and then transition over to the multi-tool. Let's get it going. The MediGun is a fan favorite for pretty much 90% of the player base in the verse. This thing can almost do it all, but there is some lingering issues along with it. This thing is able to pretty much heal you and also treat your tier injuries, but it comes with just a few drawbacks. And the first one is going to be you lose the ability to have a pistol on your hip. If you're caught in a situation just like this, now, in this scenario, it is completely my fault for not being aware of how much ammunition was in my magazine, but having a sidearm over the MediGun would have been way more beneficial for me in this case, because then I would have been able to pull out my arc light and blast this dude and take him down real quick and easy. But instead, we were both fumbling our magazines. And I know, I can hear you guys already. Well, what if you have a secondary primary? Well, in my case, I usually don't run secondary primaries, mainly because I like to make sure that my character is not encumbered and is able to outmaneuver my opponent, be it a PvP or PvE or a boss. As long as I'm able to stay light-footed and nimble, no one can realistically touch me. This also allows me to wear a full set of heavy tier armor without having to sacrifice my arms and legs by swapping them out to medium to light tier armor as well, so I have full protection without becoming encumbered, which automatically gives me a huge advantage against my opponent if they are caught wearing medium to light tier armor on their arms and legs. Now, another disadvantage of the MediGun is that it's a pretty buggy item. Sometimes when you pull it out, it wants to react in a funky way where it wants to snap to your arm, but then it doesn't, but then it does, and then it doesn't. And sometimes, depending if you're swapping in between the two items, your FPS weapon and the MediGun, too quickly, you can actually drop either your firearm or the MediGun to the ground, where you're stuck in a situation where you have to actually pick it up. This is a known bug, and it does happen often, at least happens to me every once in a while when I'm rocking this item, but it's just something you have to know and deal with when you're rocking the MediGun. It's not all the time, it's not super prevalent, but it does happen. But now let's talk about the benefits of having the MediGun versus the multi-tool. This thing is able to numb up your body by treating your tier injuries. It does not fix it, it just makes you able to move and function without limping or becoming staggered. So it's nice having that on your hip when it's available after you get out of a firefight. After that, there is no real other benefit of having this on your hip, mainly because it's a little buggy and it can be a little bit slower to use versus the multi-tool when it comes to healing. Just because you're able to heal your tier injuries does not mean that it's a better item, especially with how prevalent medical beds are, since they're pretty much scattered everywhere now in the verse. Pretty much anywhere you go, there's going to be a medical bed. Bunkers have medical beds, outposts have medical beds. You can find them at the Lazarus labs, ASD facilities, Onyx facilities. They're everywhere. So it really makes you ask the question, once you realize this, do you really need to have a MediGun on your hip? Now, please, by all means, do not take this in the way where I'm telling you that you have to not use the MediGun. Please play the game whatever way that makes you smile the most. Play the game that makes you feel the most comfortable, but please play the game and try using a different loadout instead of using the same loadout every single time. Experiment a little bit is what the message I am trying to get across. But other than that, let's move on to the multi-tool. First things first, the Pyro multi-tool is a very versatile item that can be used for more than just medical gameplay. It can be used for mining, salvage, or repair, and it can be used with the tractor beam attachment that can allow you to pick up anything that is within its weight limit. So pretty much it's a jack of all trades for a utility item. But we are going to focus more or less on the way how it handles medical gameplay. The first thing that I noticed when I pulled out this item is that I believe that its medical attachment is incomplete. It's not done being worked on. Why do I say that? Is because if you look at the menu that is on the actual device itself, it shows that it should have every single function and drug that the MediGun has, but for some reason we're just not able to interact with the other drugs that are attached to the multi-tool. Or maybe I'm just doing something wrong here and the multi-tool that I'm currently using is having the bug where you have to have the base model in order to interact with the menu system. Somebody down below in the comments, let me know if I'm doing something wrong. But the main reason why I do enjoy the multi-tool over the MediGun is because of how snappy it is. It just works. I know I am sacrificing the ability to heal tier injuries, but in my opinion, that is a very small toll to pay. When it comes to PvP combat or PvE combat, being swift and fast and accurate really does matter. Just like dogfighting in space, you want to make sure that you're able to be more accurate and able to outmaneuver your opponent. The same thing can be applied to FPS gameplay. If you and your opponent does happen to come across a small little stalemate where you both have the opportunity to heal, you want to make sure you're able to heal faster than your opponent. And I know you can use med pens, but there is a bug with the med pens right now where sometimes after you get them using one, instead of pulling out your firearm, you're going to pull back out another med pen, which means you're going to have to take the time to holster it as well before you get back in action, which can give your opponent the time to actually circle around and find you and punish you for taking that extra time you need to be able to holster the med pen and pull out your main primary or sidearm. And that is pretty much a wrap. That is the reason why I recommend you test it out and experiment with your gameplay loadout to see what you like and dislike. Again, I recommend you at least give the multi-tool medical attachment a try out there in the field. You don't always need to have a MediGun on your hip because you do lose a very valuable asset, which is a pistol that can be very important just in case you and your opponent happens to hop into a stalemate. From what I can recall, after doing my FPS tier list video, I've converted a lot of people into pistol users, and they are now discovering just how much fun and how ridiculously powerful these pistols can actually be if you properly kit them out and utilize them with proper accuracy. These things can easily overpower primary weapons. They can easily overpower some of the strongest primary weapons in the game as well. It all just comes down to the way how the user actually handles the firearm itself. It does take some skill, but at the end of the day, it's more or less about having fun. Again, like I said earlier, I highly recommend that you just experiment with your loadouts and see what may possibly interest you. You never know. You may find something that may be a hidden gem that you just haven't experienced before. You may find a weapon that just works better for you than the rest if you experiment a little bit. It's not always about the meta. It's more or less how you enjoy Star Citizen and the way how you can possibly make FPS combat a little more fun and enjoyable to yourself. Minus the corner campers. Those are always bad, but if you ever watch any of my FPS videos, you will know that I run pretty much everything and I have a blast, I have a great time. I like to run the most unconventional weapons out there in the verse, and I still have a blast. I'm still able to do well in PvP, PvE combat without too much more or less an issue, other than fighting the bugs that persist in the verse. But yeah, please let me know down below in the comments what your guys' favorite FPS weapon is, and also your guys' favorite sidearm, if you guys rock the MediGun or if you guys rock the multi-tool with the medical attachment attached. Let me know down below in the comments. But please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Please slap that like button because it really does allow more eyes to see the biggest bird in the verse. And for those who wish to financially support the biggest bird, I have my memberships and my super chats available. But yeah, you guys already know who it is. It's FC, aka Fried Chicken. Big Bird out.